Hey everyone, welcome back to the room Common Attacks. This is task 2 in social engineering. So what is social engineering? This is the term used to describe any cyber attack where a human rather than a computer is the target. For this reason, it is sometimes referred to as people hacking. For example, if an attacker wishes to obtain a victim's password, they could attempt to guess or brute force the password, or they could simply ask you. And there's a link to a video here, which I will get to in 1 second. This is going to autoplay.
We're talking about cybersecurity.
So, whilst the example linked above is relatively straightforward, social engineering attacks can be very complex and often result in an attacker gaining significant control over a target's life, both online and offline. Social engineering attacks are often multi-layered and escalate due to the snowball effect. For example, an attacker may start off by obtaining a small amount of publicly available information from a victim's social media presence, which they could use to get more information from, say, your phone or broadband provider. The information obtained from the second stage could then be used to gain more useful information, then escalate step by step to something like the victim's bank account. The best way to understand social engineering is to see it in action. These videos from DEF CON 23, and again, which is one of the largest hacking conferences, and CNN, demonstrate some of the immense power in social engineering, and they are both well worth the watch. I'll get to that in just 1 second. So, charismatic hackers calling your phone company and taking possession of your account is one form of social engineering. However, there are many other types. So, social engineering is a vast topic encompassing any attack that relies on tricking humans into giving the attacker access rather than attacking the technology directly. Whilst direct interaction with targets is the most common style of social engineering, other examples include dropping USB storage devices in public in the hope that someone, often a company employee, will pick one up and plug it into their sensitive computer. In a similar vein, attackers may leave a charging cable plugged into a socket in a public place. In actuality, the cable contains malicious software such as keyloggers or tools to take control of the victim's device. You see a lot of these, call it the OMG cable that Hacker5 offers as well. So this is the case study for the Stuxnet. Stuxnet was the name given to a particular nasty computer virus allegedly developed by the governments of the US and Israel that was originally used to target the Iran nuclear program in 2009 due to its ability as a worm to self-replicate. The virus escaped and became more widespread than was intended, and multiple variants now exist, making Stuxnet a particularly hard-hitting and notorious weapon. You can read more about Stuxnet here, and I will link to that as well. What makes Stuxnet particularly interesting is this section is the original method of infection. The virus can clone itself across networks, but that doesn't help much when the target network is a nuclear weapons development facility with no access to the wider internet. So the question becomes, how do you get a virus into a network that doesn't let anything in or out? And the simple answer is drop malicious USB devices in places where workers or at companies that dealt with the facility would find them, and hope that one of them plugged the device into a computer into a work computer. And in this case, the gamble worked, with Stuxnet causing severe damage to the Iran nuclear program and destroying many of the nuclear centrifuges. So in short, the limits to social engineering are bound by an attacker's imagination. A good social engineer can and will use a plethora of psychological tricks in any plausible context to hack their targets. So staying safe from social engineering attacks, in many ways it's very tricky to stay safe from social engineering, as it won't always be you who the attacker is talking to, but rather someone who can give them what they need without your consent. Calling the bank, pretending to be you, etc. That said, there are still measures you can take to protect yourself from social engineering attacks. This is basically saying having two-factor authentication on, never plug in external media into a computer that you care about or that is connected to other devices. So basically, if you find a USB device that you don't know where it's from, don't plug it into your computer, especially if you find one in like a coffee shop or on the street or on the parking lot or what have you. I've even had people find them on on the hood of their car, kind of like, hey, plug this in, like maybe this was yours, and like somebody just randomly left one there, and obviously there was something malicious on there. Always insist on proof of identity when a stranger calls or messages you claiming to work for a company whose services you use. Also, help desks get hit with this a lot too, from the IT standpoint. Sometimes newer, if you have a new employee and their name's on a website somewhere, like for instance, this happened to me and when I worked in higher ed, we had a person call pretending to be a professor who was brand new, so we didn't even know the person, we didn't have a rapport with this person, and they called the help desk and were trying to get a password reset for, obviously that wasn't the real person, we were being social engineered, but luckily we were able to, we didn't go through with changing the password or anything like that. And so obviously when someone calls you, or if someone calls you asking for a password, saying they're from some company, obviously you don't give them your password ever. So read the task information and watch the attached videos. Did that. And this is the "What is your password?" from Jimmy Kimmel. Basically, he was asking people what their passwords were, and they were saying, "Oh, well, I mean, I don't want to play it right now, but basically we're asking them, what's your password? Oh, it's my graduation date. Oh, it's my pet's name." And they'll ask them, "Hey, when did you graduate high school? What's your pet's name?"
Provider?
This is a hacking challenge at DEF CON. I'm going to link to this as well. This is actually a really good video. And I believe this is from CNN. Was another social engineer. Another social engineering video about how this guy actually breaks into companies. I believe he's doing a lot of physical penetration testing, and this is all about Stuxnet. And what was the original target of Stuxnet? It was, I believe it was the Irani nuclear program. Oops. That was it, and yeah, I just want to see what the hint was. So that is, and we're going to be talking more about social engineering and phishing in the next one. This is more about what you're going to hear of vishing or smishing. So vishing is someone trying to social engineer you through voicemails. Smishing is through text messaging. And sometimes, vishing also includes phone calls, where they'll just call you and they'll try to, they'll call you and just to get information from you, like this point right here, point number 3, when someone just calls you and says, "Hi, I'm from Microsoft, and we notice there's a problem with your account or the problem with your computer." And in the next section, you're going to see phishing, which is something we've covered a lot on this channel, but what's one more video, and we're going to talk about, again, you get a random email saying your account has been locked, and it's obviously not really Netflix. It's somebody who has just put together a pretty convincing phishing email. So we'll get to all that in the next video. Any questions or comments, please leave them below, and I will see you all on task number 3, phishing emails. Thank you.